Chapter 1. The clock above the chalkboard ticked loudly in the silent exam hall of St. Catherine's Secondary School. Emily Carter tapped her pen nervously against her paper, double-checking her final answer in the A-level chemistry exam. She glanced up, her gaze drifting toward the back of the room where Oliver Hart sat, already finished, slouched in his chair with that familiar lazy grin. His sandy blonde hair was slightly tousled, his tie loosened, typical Oliver. He caught her staring and winked. Emily's cheeks burned, and she quickly looked back at her paper. 5 years. 5 years of stolen glances in the library, of laughing a little too hard at his terrible jokes in maths, of pretending she didn't notice him when he walked past her in the corridor. 5 years of never saying a word. The bell rang, and the room erupted into cheers. Students tossed their papers in the air, hugging and shouting. Emily carefully packed her things, her stomach twisting. Today was the day. No more excuses. No regrets. Outside, the late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the cobbled streets of York. Emily walked with her best friend, Charlotte, Lottie Bennett, who was already gushing about their upcoming gap year plans. "So, you're really off to Edinburgh tomorrow?" Lottie asked, nudging her. Emily nodded. "Yeah, train leaves at 7. And you're really not going to tell him?" Emily bit her lip. Lottie had known about her crush on Oliver since year 10. "I think I have too." Lottie grinned. "Finally. But what if he won't?" Emily cut in quickly. "He's with Sophie now, remember?" Lottie's smile dimmed. "Right. But still. You should say it. For you." Emily exhaled. "Yeah, for me." That evening, Emily sat on the edge of her bed in her family's terraced house, her suitcases packed and waiting by the door. Downstairs, her parents were finalizing last-minute details for their move to Scotland. She picked up her phone, her hands clammy. "Just do it," she whispered. Her thumb hovered over Oliver's contact. She had saved his number after a group project in year 12 but had never dared to text him. One deep breath. She pressed call. Ring, ring. Her pulse raced. What if he doesn't pick up? What if? "Hello." His voice, warm, slightly rough, sent a jolt through her. Hi, it's Emily." A pause. "Oh, hey." He sounded surprised. "What's up?" She clenched her fists. "I need to tell you something." Another pause. "All right." She closed her eyes. "I like you. I've liked you for 5 years." Silence. Her heart pounded so loudly she was sure he could hear it. "I just wanted you to know before I leave. I'm moving to Edinburgh tonight." More silence. Then, "Emily, She couldn't bear it. "It's fine. I didn't expect anything. I just didn't want to regret not saying it." Before he could respond, she hung up. Tears pricked her eyes, but she wiped them away quickly. No regrets. At the train station, Emily hugged Lottie tightly. "You're brilliant," Lottie whispered. "And he's a proper idiot if he doesn't realize what he missed." Emily laughed weakly. "Thanks, Lottie." As she boarded the train, she glanced at her phone one last time. No messages. No calls. She turned it off and leaned back in her seat, watching the Yorkshire countryside blur past the window. 5 years of silence. One confession. And now, a new beginning. Chapter 2. The London rain pattered against the windows of Kensington and Rowe Consulting as Emily Carter adjusted her blazer for the 5th time. 5 years had passed since she'd left York, and now, fresh from her MBA at Edinburgh, she was walking into her first real job as a senior strategy consultant. "You'll be fine," Lottie's voice echoed in her head from their call last night. Just don't spill coffee on anyone important. Emily groaned. Her clumsiness hadn't improved. Pushing through the glass doors, she was greeted by HR, given a badge, and ushered to the 4th floor, corporate strategy. Your team's down the hall. Watch out for the photocopier, it jams if you look at it wrong, the HR woman said with a wink. Emily nodded, clutching her new leather portfolio like a shield. She turned the corner. Crash. Papers flew. Her portfolio hit the ground. A scalding liquid soaked through her blouse. Oh, bloody hell. A deep, familiar laugh made her freeze. Some things never change, do they, Carter? Her head snapped up. Oliver Hart. Older, taller, in a fitted navy suit, his tie slightly askew. The same teasing glint in his hazel eyes. Her stomach dropped to her shoes. Oh, Oliver. He bent to pick up her scattered files, that infuriating smirk still in place. Surprise. Small world, EH. Emily's face burned. This couldn't be happening. You work here, she blurted. Junior analyst, he said, handing her a stack of papers. Started last month, though apparently, I now report to you. Her mouth went dry. Oliver, her subordinate, the boy she'd cried over at 17. Right, she managed. Professional. This is professional. He leaned in, voice low. Still running away, Em. Before she could retort, a sharp voice cut in. Hart, stop harassing the new hire and get to the conference room. Their boss, Margaret Keene, stood with crossed arms. Oliver saluted. Yes, ma'am. As he walked away, he shot Emily a look over his shoulder. Game on. The team briefing was agony. Emily tried to focus on Margaret's presentation, but Oliver's leg kept brushing hers under the table. When she glared, he innocently slid his chair away, then, accidentally, knocked her pen to the floor. Oops, he mouthed, grinning as she bent to retrieve it. Her phone buzzed. A text from Lottie. So, did you see him? Emily typed furiously. He works here. My junior. Help. 3 dots. Then, ha 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 ha, buy me wine tonight. Margaret cleared her throat. Emily. Your thoughts on the Q3 projections? Ah, yes. Very. Projectee. Oliver coughed to hide a laugh. She wanted to strangle him. At lunch, Emily hid in the break room, gulping tea like it was salvation. The door swung open. Hiding from me, Oliver strolled in, holding 2 coffees. Peace offering. She eyed the cup suspiciously. Is it salt this time? Would I do that? He took a sip from her cup to prove it was safe. Her traitorous heart skipped. Same old Oliver. Why are you here, Ollie? She asked quietly. He stilled at the childhood nickname. Then shrugged. Needed a job after uni. Funny how life works. Their eyes locked. 5 years of unsaid words hung between them. Then. Emily. Margaret barked from the doorway. Client call in 5. Oliver winked as she scrambled up. Till next time, boss. The weeks that followed were torture. Oliver forgot to CC her on emails. Assigned her last-minute slides every Friday at 5:58 p.m. Smirked whenever she tripped. But the worst, when other men flirted with her. At the office pub night, Daniel from finance leaned into Emily's space. So, Emily, do you? Oliver materialized, slinging an arm around her shoulders. Sorry mate, She's helping me with a report. Daniel blinked. It's Friday night. Very important report, Oliver said solemnly, steering her away. Emily elbowed him. What is wrong with you? He grinned. Protecting company morale. She huffed. You're insufferable. Yet here you are, he murmured, still putting up with me. Her breath caught. Damn him. Chapter 3. The Kensington and Row offices were nearly empty at 9:30 p.m., the only sounds the hum of the air conditioning and Emily's furious typing. She'd been stuck there for hours thanks to Oliver, forgetting to send her crucial client files until 6:45 p.m. Click, click, click. Her fingers pounded the keyboard with extra force as Oliver's laughter echoed from the break room. He was in there with Sarah from marketing, their voices carrying down the hall. So then she tripped right into the photocopier. Emily's jaw clenched. She stood abruptly, knocking over her empty coffee cup. Enough. She pushed through the break room door to find Oliver leaning against the counter, mid-story, a biscuit in hand. And the machine started printing 50 copies of her, oh. Hey, Em. Sarah took one look at Emily's stormy expression and made a hasty exit. Emily crossed her arms. Having fun. Oliver popped the rest of the biscuit in his mouth. Just sharing office culture. You've been sabotaging me for weeks. Sabotage. He pressed a hand to his chest. I'm devastated. I've been nothing but helpful. Helpful. Her voice rose. The salt in my coffee. The lost reports. The way you. She lowered her voice to a furious whisper. The way you act like some jealous boyfriend every time a guy talks to me. Oliver stilled. The playful glint in his eyes faded. For the first time since she'd known him, he looked uncertain. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Oliver ran a hand through his hair. You're right. Emily blinked. What? I have been messing with you. He met her gaze. But not for the reasons you think. She waited, heart pounding. That phone call 5 years ago, he said quietly. I tried calling you back. 12 times. Your phone was off. Emily's breath caught. I showed up at the station, he continued. But your train was already gone. The air between them crackled. All the jokes, the teasing, it had never been about making her miserable. It had always been about this. About them. Oliver took a step closer. You dropped this bomb and just left. I thought that I didn't care. His voice was rough. Emily, I applied to Edinburgh too. Her eyes widened. Got rejected, he added with a weak smile. But the point is. The break room door swung open. Am I interrupting? Margaret stood in the doorway, eyebrows raised. Oliver didn't break eye contact with Emily. Yeah, you really are. Margaret snorted. Hart, your presentation is due in 15. Carter, the Brighton clients are waiting. As Margaret left, Oliver grabbed a napkin and scribbled something. He pressed it into Emily's hand. 7 p.m. The Red Lion. We finish this. Emily spent the rest of the day in a daze. During his presentation, Oliver kept sneaking glances at her. When she tripped over a chair leg, he didn't laugh, just steadied her with a hand at her elbow. Daniel from finance raised an eyebrow. You two finally figure things out. Emily's cheeks burned. At 6:58 p.m., she stood outside the Red Lion, the oldest pub in the city. Her hands trembled slightly. The door opened. Oliver stood there, tie gone, top button undone. You came, he said softly. Emily held up the napkin. You owe me an explanation. He smiled, not the teasing grin she was used to, but something warmer. Truer. Yeah, he said, holding the door open. I suppose I do. Chapter 4. The Red Lion's ancient oak door creaked shut behind them as Oliver led Emily to a corner booth, the kind with high backs that promised privacy. The pub smelled of ale and wood polish, with the faintest hint of the fish and chips special. Oliver flagged down the bartender. 2 pints of the house lager, please. He glanced at Emily. Unless you'd prefer wine. Lager's fine, she said, surprised he remembered she didn't like wine. The drinks arrived in frosty glasses. Oliver took a long sip before speaking. So, he traced a finger through the condensation on his glass. You thought I didn't care. Emily's throat tightened. You had a girlfriend. Oliver's head snapped up. What? No, I didn't. Sophie. Sophie, my cousin Sophie. He burst out laughing. Bloody hell, Em. She was visiting from Manchester that week. We were having family dinner when you called. Emily's face burned. All these years. Oliver leaned forward, his usual confidence replaced by something more vulnerable. After you left, I applied to every university near Edinburgh. Got rejected from them all. A wry smile. Turns out A-levels matter after all. Emily's chest ached. You never said. How could I? You'd made it clear you were moving on. He swirled his beer. When I saw the Kensington job posting last year, I recognized your name in the department head list. Applied that same night. Her breath caught. You took this job because of me. Oliver met her gaze. Took me 3 interviews to convince them a bloke with a 2 could handle the work. The admission hung between them. All his teasing, the constant presence, it had never been about revenge. It was his hopeless, stubborn way of staying in her life. 2 pints later, they'd moved to the pub's tiny garden, where fairy lights twinkled overhead. Emily was laughing at Oliver's impression of Margaret when her phone buzzed. Lottie, we need details. Emily smiled and locked her phone. Oliver watched her, his expression soft. Still best mates with Lottie then? Of course, she's. Emily looked up and froze. Oliver was closer than she'd realized, his hazel eyes warm in the golden light. The air between them charged. Oliver's gaze dropped to her lips. A raindrop splashed onto Emily's nose. Then another. The skies opened. They scrambled inside, laughing and soaked. Under the pub's awning, Oliver brushed a wet curl from her forehead. His hand lingered. Emily Carter, he murmured. What am I going to do with you? Her heart raced. The rain had eased to a drizzle when they left the pub. Oliver walked her to the tube station, their shoulders brushing. At the turnstiles, Emily hesitated. So, tomorrow at work. Oliver grinned. Don't worry, I'll still steal your pens. But then his expression turned serious. If I need to know you're not going to run again. Emily reached for his hand. I'm not 17 anymore, Ollie. The childhood nickname made his breath hitch. He squeezed her fingers. As her train arrived, Oliver pulled her close. Good, because I've waited 5 years for this. His lips brushed her forehead. I can wait until Saturday for our proper first date. Chapter 5. Emily's Monday morning commute felt different. She adjusted her blazer for the 10th time, her stomach fluttering as the tube rattled toward Kensington and Row. The memory of Oliver's lips on her forehead replayed in her mind, the way his hand had lingered on hers at the tube station. Her phone buzzed. Lottie. So, first date when? Details. Now. Emily bit back a smile. Emily. Saturday. Pub first, then dinner. And before you ask, no, I didn't kiss him. Lottie. Disappointing, but acceptable. Prepare for office gossip. Emily groaned. Of course, the entire company had probably seen them leave together Friday night. The elevator doors opened to a sea of raised eyebrows. Sarah from marketing immediately stopped mid-sentence, her eyes darting to Emily. Daniel from finance smirked into his coffee. Even Margaret, usually unflappable, gave her a knowing look. Emily kept her head high and marched to her desk. A steaming cup of coffee sat waiting, properly made this time, with the exact amount of milk she liked. Taped to the side was a note in messy handwriting. No salt. Promise. Oh. She hid a smile behind the cup. Oliver strolled in 20 minutes late, looking unfairly good in a navy blue suit, his hair still slightly damp from a shower. The office went quiet. He dropped into the chair next to Emily's desk, spinning to face her. Morning, boss. She kept her eyes on her screen. You're late. Worth it. He leaned in, lowering his voice. Spent all weekend thinking about you. Emily's fingers froze on the keyboard. A loud cough came from behind them. Margaret. Hart, if you're quite done flirting, the Brighton clients are waiting. Oliver winked at Emily, saved by the keen. By Wednesday, the entire office knew something was happening. Oliver, to his credit, was professional, mostly. Except when Daniel stopped by Emily's desk to discuss budgets. Oliver materialized instantly, casually leaning against her desk. Daniel. Daniel sighed. Hart, I'm literally just talking about spreadsheets. Oliver crossed his arms. Fascinating. Emily kicked him under the desk. Later, in the break room, she cornered him. You need to stop. Oliver poured sugar into his coffee, unfazed. Stop what? She gestured vaguely. The territorial thing. It's embarrassing. He stirred slowly, then met her eyes. Tell me you don't like it. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Oliver smirked. That's what I thought. Friday night. The office was empty. Emily was finishing up a report when Oliver appeared in her doorway, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up. Still here. She stretched, arms over her head, watching his gaze drop. Just wrapping up. He stepped closer. Need help? The air between them crackled. Emily stood, suddenly hyper-aware of how little space separated them. Oliver's breath hitched as she reached up, straightening his tie. You're a mess, she murmured. His hands settled on her hips. You love it. She didn't deny it. Oliver's thumb brushed her waist. Tomorrow. Red Lion. 7. Emily nodded. He leaned in, so close, then pulled back at the last second, grinning. Patience, Carter. And with that, he was gone. Epilogue. 5 years later, Emily walked into the Kensington and Row conference room for an urgent client briefing, only to find it filled with twinkling fairy lights, rose petals, and every single one of their coworkers grinning. At the front stood Oliver, in his best suit, holding a ring. Margaret cleared her throat. Finally. Oliver. Emily Carter. You once told me you liked me in a phone call and hung up. Thought I'd do it properly this time. He got down on one knee. Marry me. Right now. In this office. Emily burst out laughing. You planned a same-day wedding. Oliver. Lottie's outside with a dress. Your parents flew in. The registrar's waiting. He grinned. Say yes. She pulled him up by his tie and kissed him. Obviously yes. 20 minutes later, Emily stood in a white sundress as Oliver slipped a ring onto her finger in front of the office photocopier, where we first reunited, he'd insisted. Margaret officiated. Do you, Oliver, promise to stop putting salt in Emily's coffee? Oliver. No. Good enough. Married. As their coworkers cheered, Oliver dipped Emily into a dramatic kiss, knocking over a potted plant in the process. Some things never change. Their daughter, Charlotte, Lottie, Hart, was born on a rainy Tuesday, with Oliver panicking so badly he tried to call a Clean tea meeting to order before Emily threatened to divorce him. 5 years later, Emily became managing director. Oliver still pretended to be her subordinate when clients visited. It's our bit. 10 years later, they bought a cottage in York, where teenage Lottie rolled her eyes daily at her parents, disgusting, flirting. Every anniversary, Oliver recreated their first date at the Red Lion, right down to the rain. And every time Emily tripped, he'd catch her, just like he'd been doing since they were 17. The end.